Hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an absolutely fantastic day. Just a little something before we properly begin the video. I am going to be taking the next 2 weeks as personal weeks. If you don't follow this channel every day and the other channel Money Rules, I am constantly making videos and pumping out content, and I am pooped. I'm slightly burned out. It is time for me to relax, but on that same exact topic, there will still be content every day while I am taking off. I know it seems a little redundant, if you will, but that's just still how it's going to be. So just wanted to let everyone know that the videos will be slightly different. Same format, same everything, you know, but there will be a bit of a difference to them as I take time off. So I would implore you as well, and I've mentioned this before at the end of other videos, but I'm going to do it at the beginning of this one. Don't forget to take time off. It is very important. I think we forget quite easily that we do a lot all the time, 24/7. Life is a constant. So don't be afraid to take a couple of days off. Don't be afraid to take a week off. Don't be afraid to do something nice for yourself. Whatever that might be, whatever you might consider to be nice. Anyway, and without further ado, because that was definitely an ado, let's jump right into it. BitMEX's co-founder, his name is Arthur Hayes, thinks that Ether's recent price increase indicates that the altcoin season is here. Arthur Hayes, co-founder of BitMEX, believes that altcoin season, sometimes known as alt season, depending on who you are, a time frame during which the alternative coins outperform Bitcoin and reduce its dominance in the crypto market, is already here. So typically there's a very weird time frame for all of these things, and it constantly follows the exact same method. There's never really, a strong deviation from it, if you will. The general, I'm going to start from the back and then go to the beginning, is usually prices falling. So like we're at the end of another cycle, prices are falling. They go down for a good year and a half, depending on whatever the last year or so that we've been here together. Last year and a half has been more dramatic than usual because of inflation, because of interest rates rising, because of the housing market crash, because of, you name it. You've been watching the news. You know that the world is a literal mess right now. What tends to happen is that we tend to see something called alt season or altcoin season once again. This takes place in multiple different forms. So the form that we are currently maybe witnessing, that a lot of people believe that we are currently in, is normally after the fall of the cryptocurrency market. Altcoins tend to fall roughly around 90 to 95% in price. I know that sounds dramatic. It's just a normal day in crypto. While Bitcoin usually will lose around maybe 50, 60, 70% of its previous price, sometimes a little bit lower. And as the altcoin dominance falls, Bitcoin's dominance remains the same and or goes up slightly higher. As Bitcoin falls by 3%, altcoins fall by 10, 14%. You've seen the very dramatic numbers before. On the flip side, one of the main indicators that the cryptocurrency market is about to go ripping and roaring is when we see that altcoins begin to move up further and faster than Bitcoin is actually capable of doing. If you have 300 coins that are all moving up by 10, 15% per day, and Bitcoin's moving up by 2, 3, 4, 5% per day, obviously the 1,000 coins that are going up by 10, 15% at any given time are going to begin to outperform Bitcoin. And this is once again, fairly obvious. It's called alt season. This usually is then followed by altcoins not taking a bit of a breather. It's usually a 2-3 month kind of activity where we see prices going up. This time is being led by Ethereum. We see prices kind of slow down a little bit, and then Bitcoin begins to move up. This is when we will probably see this around, I would say, September, October. That's kind of the more realistic time frame for when you would expect Bitcoin to move up or begin to really start pumping. Why? It's because next year is Bitcoin's halving. The reward of coins that come out of the system will be cut in half. The halving, ta-da! And on top of that, there's usually a really weird something is lit under people where they realize that the amount of Bitcoin that they could have purchased before is no more at a certain price, and therefore they begin to panic and say, well, now there's going to be half as much Bitcoin as there was before that's being created. I should be buying some Bitcoin. Bitcoin's price goes up, the altcoins take a slight backseat. If Bitcoin's price is going up, altcoins are also going up as well. But this is where we typically will hear news that Bitcoin is now 51, 55, 60% of the entire cryptocurrency market. We start talking about new all-time highs. Everyone begins to talk about exactly how high the Bitcoin is going to go. And even where we currently are now, prices are actually still quite fantastic in that we are roughly half-esque away in price from Bitcoin's previous all-time high. I know we're at 30-something right now, and the previous all-time high, I believe, was 70,000. But we could also be at a $12,000 Bitcoin, a $14,000, $18,000 Bitcoin, and we are far ahead of where I think a lot of people believe that we should even actually be right now as far as the optimism for Bitcoin's potential price movements over the course of the next year. You've seen it. We've talked about it many times. The people talking about that they believe that sometime next year we will probably already see a 70 and or plus $100,000 Bitcoin, but this also feeds into the narrative of people talking about that we could potentially see a $300,000 to a $500,000 Bitcoin by the time we actually get to 2025. I would say, now, realistically, don't hold your breath. A lot of times we hear these crazy price numbers and then they usually don't come to fruition. But as time goes on, once we pass by a number of other halvings, here we are as far as the price. It says in one of his most recent tweets, Hayes presented a price chart of Ether outlining its spike above $2,100 achieved in the past several hours. He said, allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Altcoin. It says SZN. I know it's supposed to be season, but it looks kind of ridiculous. So you must remember, we were talking about this for about a good 2 weeks, where I kept on saying, don't feed into the nonsense that everyone's trying to tell you, the whole sell the news, yada, 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 that for those of you who missed it, one of the lies and rumors that was being thrown around is that that there would be a 60 billion with a B dollar unlocking of Ethereum that would hit the system. It would hit the markets. Everyone would go completely insane. We can't have $60 billion worth of Ether hitting the market at the exact same time. And I told all of you that's not what was going to happen. The vast majority of people would not be unstaking because they want their coins to continuously be staked so that they continue making the passive income. And or anyone who would decide to sell would have to stand in a queue. They would have to stand in a line. They would have to basically wait in a first come, first served basis for their money to be unlocked. So the first iterations of unlockings that we have right now are still going to take weeks. They're estimates between 4 to 8 weeks, depending on how long the unlocking actually happens. And everyone else will have to wait behind them. And on top of that news, I don't have it here. It's not entirely relevant. The amount of people who are staking has also increased. Yeah, because people want the passive income. The idea that people would sell off their Ether as if it's some other, excuse my French here, crappy coin is absolute nonsense. No, people want their Ether. The only way to make new Ether, as I've been telling you for weeks, is to actually already have Ether. If you sell it, you're selling it to the whales who are going to continue to make more passive income for themselves. So yeah, it appears as if, it says Arthur Hayes sees a glorious altcoin season coming as Ether's price jumps above $2,100. It just kind of is what it is. We also have been, to be fair, hearing an enormous amount of news about alt season, Bitcoin season, prices jumping for the last couple of weeks, and they have come true. They haven't not come true. We have seen prices moving up. One of my friends, tipping my hat to you, actually reminded me. He's like, don't forget, like, Ether was just at $800. He's like, Bitcoin was just at $1,700. And remember all those weird YouTubers who were telling you that the price was going to fall back down to like $2,000-$3,000 before we moved back up. So yeah, prices are doing pretty well, at least at the time of me making this video. But, I'm expecting pretty good things over the course of the next, and I dare even say 18 plus months, because we're back in the cycle. This is the beginning of, will it actually move? We see prices moving, and I think this will be hyper solidified for everyone. There will be no longer a discussion when we hit a $35,000 to a $40,000 Bitcoin. That'll kind of be the, okay, this is definitely it. The market's moving back up, what have you. That's the alt season. Might be here, might be coming. We're probably already in the early stages, just to be completely, let's be honest with ourselves. And yeah, let's move on. Also in, what? That's crazy. Macro guru and fund manager Dan Tapiero, okay, is expressing bullish sentiment on Bitcoin with a prediction that the market cap of the flagship crypto asset could hit 14 figures. I know that sounds like an insane amount, but here we are. In a new interview with Anthony Pompliano, Tapiero says that he sees the market cap of Bitcoin reaching up to $10 trillion from the 600 billion where it currently is. To be fair, Bitcoin, I think we got to a, what was it, 1.3 or 1.4 trillion dollar market cap before the great downfall once again in prices. So it does seem completely believable. A part of this idea deals with the old mysticisms of the cryptocurrency space. It's the collapse of everything into Bitcoin. The idea is, and we've had this for a while, like I just said, the idea is that in the future, people will begin to sell off other assets to buy more Bitcoin. It's a late to the party kind of idea. So if you see that Bitcoin is 25 cents, you go, it's only 25 cents. I don't think I need or want any of that right now. You shy away from it. If Bitcoin goes to $3,000, you go, oh crap, I could have bought it for 25 cents. Let me buy a portion of it. Bitcoin goes to 28,000. You go, oh my gosh, I remember seeing this at $3,000. Why didn't I buy more? You buy another fraction of Bitcoin. Bitcoin goes to $150,000. Oh my, I remember when it was 28,000. Why didn't I buy an entire Bitcoin? And it's this kind of constant, as there will only ever be, according to current estimates, 15 million Bitcoin available to the public. It's this constant, let me buy more. You would call it dollar cost averaging, but it's more of a, I'm late to the party. I got to make sure that I have some kind of thing. And on top of this is the idea that if people continue to buy fractions of it, eventually those fractions not only disappear from the market, but become entire Bitcoin that leave the marketplace. If this is replicated by even 2 billion people on the planet, there's nothing left on the market. Bitcoin's price continues to go up. Bitcoin is accepted for more things, and you can use it here to buy stuff. You can buy a flight there. You can buy a luxury housing somewhere in Spain, etc., etc. Bitcoin's price goes up, and everyone else then goes and looks at charts, or this is the idea, would look at charts and go, I wish I had bought more before. I'm going to start selling off some of my assets. One of the main things that people believe will be sold off first will be gold and silver as the asset class that many people go into as a hedge. And we've already seen indications of this before. It doesn't really make the news as much as it used to in 2021, maybe even 2018, 2019, where there was news that a bunch of hedge funds began to sell off their gold positions in paper gold, so not actual physical gold, but what. Anyway, and began to put that money into Bitcoin, and this will be replicated over and over until we get to the word's not crescendo, but it's kind of the fiat endo. I don't know, where people would begin to sell off their real estate for Bitcoin. I know it sounds absurd, of course, it's Bitcoin stuff, but the idea would be, well, I can make more money from simply holding onto Bitcoin as Bitcoin is deflationary than I do from actually having an investment property and all this other stuff. And then the final, the end of money as we know it and the beginning of Bitcoin is the selling off debt into Bitcoin, which equals several quadrillion dollars. And that's where we get to the, question mark. Can it actually happen? But those are the moments where people begin to talk about the, the $100 million per Bitcoin kind of stuff. And I'll be completely honest with you. I want to say 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, I would have been relatively skeptical I think a $500,000 Bitcoin seems completely believable. But when you see like the mess that the world is currently in, and it doesn't look like it's going to be getting any better anytime soon, the prospectus of a $8 million Bitcoin begins to make a lot more sense. But then you go, if Bitcoin becomes $8 million in the year 2032, I don't know, random year number, how much higher could it then go? Like, are we still dealing with terrible inflation? Are there now, 1.7 billion people who are buying up, 50,000 Satoshis per day because, the price has gotten higher and therefore they have to, afford less. But where does that kind of lead us to? It's a very fascinating discussion, and I think it's one that a lot of people, myself included, kind of pushed to the side years ago. The idea of Bitcoin going up is, of course, very fantastic. Yay, the whole market moves up. We all get to make money. But then you wonder, this is kind of a financial monetary experiment, if you will, in the entire idea of where this can all go. But then you sit there and go, where can it all go? Like, exactly how high are we going to see an actual Bitcoin? When you talk about, the BlackRocks, the Fidelities, the JP Morgans, all these people getting into Bitcoin and to crypto, it's for long-term holds. I know the idea of a 20 to 40 year long-term hold sounds nonsensical to many people out there, but this is how the ultra wealthy think. You accumulate assets now in anticipation of them being worth, 35, 75x of where they are now. You're not expecting it next year, maybe not even the year after, but these assets, these are the ones that end up being passed on to your kids and to your great grandkids. And this is when we talk about generational wealth. It's not simply like I know a lot of times people hear the term generational wealth, and I think it flusters them in a sort of way, because you may look at what you currently have or what's in your bank account or the one property that you might own or are trying to own, and you go, this doesn't look generational. You want to hear something crazy? There's a video that popped up on Instagram, like on those real things. I've been watching them all the time. I can't get away from them. There's a video that popped up. Maybe someone out there has seen it. It was this. It was a video from 1968, an old news report of this guy filming this couple walking out of a building. They were in Australia. Someone must have seen this. And the newscaster was asking the couple, he's like, oh, did you manage to buy something today? And he was talking about buying property. A new lot of land had just opened up. They were building on top of it. And he asked the woman first, he said, did you guys get lucky enough to buy something? She said, it was a bit overpriced. I didn't care for it. And he was like, what were the bids that you put in for the land and the house built on top of it? She was like, we bid $1,500, that is 1,500 Australian dollars. She was like, but the final bid was for 1,800, so we're going to try and find something cheaper. So then he asks another guy who walked out afterwards, and he was like, yeah, we were fortunate enough to buy 2 pieces of land. I think the first one was 2,200 and the next house was 2,800. And he's like, do you think it's worth it? He's like, it seemed a bit high, but I'm hoping in the future that it's actually worth something. And I sent it to multiple friends, and my jaw dropped. Can you imagine? I mean, we know better now because, the old saying goes, buy land or real estate because you can't build any more land. Like, what land is there is kind of already there. The idea of putting in a bid for $1,500 for land and a house and being like, oh, and then the woman also complained. She was like, it's really expensive because every single year you have to pay $100 in taxes to even like keep the darn thing, like land taxes, HOA fees and stuff like that. And I was like, how absolutely insane this sounds. So this is where it echoes for me with Bitcoin as well. When you talk about the beginning of the internet, no one, put your hand down. No one foresaw what we have now and what we're currently talking about having. When you talk about AI, when you talk about all this new technology, when you talk about augmented reality, virtual reality, these headsets that we have, the stuff that Apple's rumored to be coming out, this is all because of Windows 95. I know it's not, you understand what I'm saying. Windows 95 was like the first home computer that everyone got to have, and that set off the spark from there. What if like Bitcoin is the beginning of the cryptocurrency, digital financial future spark? And we only see what we see now, today. And we can only see what we saw yesterday or the day before. So we see that Bitcoin was at 70,000. We see it's at 30 and we go like, okay, I hope it goes back up. But what if it does? What if this is our like $1,500 moment? What if this is like, Bitcoin seems kind of expensive. Let me not buy some. You know, where is Bitcoin's price in 10 years? When we go through 3 more halvings? Anyway, I got a bit, off, the term's not off center, but you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I don't even really have to go through much more than it. They're talking about exactly like where they believe that prices are going to go. And I mean, it seems all but believable. They said somewhere between $5 to $8 trillion. Do I think it could go to 10 trillion? Sure. Absolutely. It absolutely can go to, I mean, if you think Bitcoin's market cap is going to go to 5 trillion, but it can't double from there over the course of, even if we had to wait 4 more other halvings, that's 16 years. I think it's fairly obvious that Bitcoin would be able to do it. According to the macro guru and fund manager, Bitcoin is likely to hit a price of up to $500,000 under the current global economic circumstances. He said, I've been saying this the whole time for a while, and I think $300K to $500,000 is a good solid place, you know, given the value of other asset sorts in the world. Yeah, I think it's all but a given, at least at this point. At least that's one of my feelings. I've been telling friends personally for years to at least get some. Like, you know, it's this kind of, I don't understand how you don't own any. This coin has been number one for 14 years. And for some reason in your mind, you don't even have 1 million Satoshis. If we get up to $100 million Bitcoin, and you literally could have spent, what is that? $300, not financial advice, to make $1 million in the future, it's a literal no-brainer. So anyway, that's the people are still talking about where they think Bitcoin's price is going to go in the future, because it's a gigantic topic of discussion. And yeah. That's going to do it for this video. I sincerely do hope that you've all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. Do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting. Oh, and people were asking, and I'm sorry about that. In the last video, it cut off at the end. And I uploaded it and saw, and I was like, oh, crap. I realized what happened. So you know how, like, I make videos every single day, but they have to go somewhere. So they're sitting on my computer. And when I was recording the other video, what do you call it? There was no more space on my computer. So the recording software stopped itself, and it basically told me, it was like, hey, there's no more memory on me. And I was like, oh, well, that sucks. So I had to get another hard drive, and I took my old TMI videos, because I back up my backups of everything. There were, I think, like 300 or 400 TMI videos that I had sitting on my computer, each one of them being like 1, 2, 3 gigs each. So yeah. Anyway, sorry for the cutoff in the video. Just letting you know what happened. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. Have a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. Do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Don't forget to take some time off. It's incredibly important. I cannot stress that enough. I cannot stress it enough. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.